the anthropologist James Sidney Slotkin produced his acclaimed ethnography of Native American peyote use, and the pioneers of the drug culture to come, William Burroughs and Allen Ginsberg among them, were adding peyote to their diets of marijuana, heroin, and benzodrine. Suddenly, mescaline was everywhere. In addition to mescaline and LSD, in 1957, a Life magazine cover splash announced the discovery of a new psychedelic drug. The investment banker and amateur ethnobotanist Gordon Wasson had tracked down a tribal community in Mexico which still used vision-giving mushrooms according to ancient tradition, and in 1958, Albert Hofmann, the discoverer of LSD, isolated the mushroom's active chemical and named it psilocybin. The issue of Life following Gordon Wasson's feature, Seeking the Magic Mushroom, demonstrated that intrepid members of the public were already undertaking their own adventures. It included a letter from one Jane Ross advising that Wasson's journey to the mountains of Oaxaca had been unnecessary. "I've been having hallucinatory visions accompanied by space suspension and time destruction in my New York City apartment for the past 3 years." She had been alerted to mescaline by the doors of perception and acquired it in its natural form, the dried top of the peyote cactus, from a Texas mail-order supplier for $8 per 100 buttons. "It usually takes about 4 buttons for one person to have visions," she wrote. William Burroughs had already sniffed out the same supplier, and within 3 years peyote would be on open sale in the bohemian haunts of Lower Manhattan. Laboratory-grade mescaline was also available to the determined seeker. In practice, anyone who could claim a Ph.D. or rustle up a plausible-looking business letterhead. My Uncle Peter had neither, but after reading The Doors of Perception, he visited the office of Aldrich, the research chemical supplier, outside London, and casually requested some. The assistant informed him that, "We've been told to be very careful about who we supply it to," and asked if he was a doctor. "Well, I am a physicist," Peter offered. He was working for Kodak at the time. He was sold half a kilo, over 1,000 doses, which kept the beatnik vanguard of Soho and the Sussex coast supplied for some time. These early adopters were few and scattered, but their traces give a flavor of the diverse interests that would soon be subsumed within the new category of psychedelic. In 1952, Osmond's collaborator John Smithies, who had first been drawn to mescaline by his interest in mystical and paranormal experiences, supplied some to the British psychic researcher Rosalind Haywood. Haywood had a very different experience from Huxley. For him, the outer world was transfigured, whereas for me it became extremely drab and boring. My consciousness fled away into a stupendous inner world. She advertised in the Manchester Guardian for artists to participate in mescaline visualizations, an offer accepted eagerly by Brian Winter, a graduate of the Slade Art School who already knew The Doors of Perception virtually by heart. Winter went on to pursue his own experiments at his remote cottage in the far west of Cornwall, where from 1956 onwards, mescaline inspired his New Consciousness turn, in which he sought to catch through seething abstract canvases the moment at which the eye looks out at the world it has not yet recognized. As the 60s unfolded, Huxley's bright May morning came to stand alongside Albert Hofmann's first LSD-fueled bicycle ride in 1943 as the founding experience of the psychedelic era. Yet the 2 grand claims with which he had announced mescaline to the world had already receded from view. The theory that schizophrenia was caused by a neurotoxin related to mescaline was, like many of the scientific theories in Huxley's late writings, quickly forgotten. Over the next few years, it was overwritten by the dopamine hypothesis that emerged from studying the action of new drugs such as chlorpromazine. Discovering a chemical cause for schizophrenia, let alone finding a chemical cure, seems no closer today than it did in 1954. Huxley's second claim, that the states of consciousness opened up by mescaline were all but unexplored, must have seemed odd even at the time to the attentive reader. Huxley had clearly made careful study of an extensive literature on the subject. The very first page of The Doors of Perception cites a series of pharmacological, medical, and literary descriptions of mescaline's effects dating back over 50 years.